YouTube? What's going on, man? It's Father Dark, and today we're here with some tips and tricks for Sue Storm. If you're somebody who's like, already Grandmaster or something with Sue Storm, this probably isn't going to be the video for you. I am nowhere near that level, but I have been maining Sue Storm since she pretty much released, just because for me, she's just really been working as somebody who's primarily a healer. Prior to this, I mained Mantis. So, I feel like Sue is definitely, in my opinion, probably the best healer. And I feel like she's just meta to have. If you're somebody who's a more aggressive healer who has to kind of like balance out your teammates in regards to, having DPS that just maybe aren't necessarily the best, or just adding that extra bit of damage. I feel like I get a lot of eliminations along with a lot of healing. Every game I pretty much have almost as many eliminations as the DPS on the team, along with anywhere from 16K to 20K, sometimes even more than that for those longer matches and ranked and stuff like that. And like I said, I have been only playing Sue. But like I said, also, if you're somebody who's a pro with her, you feel like this may not be the video for her, but I just feel like that most of the people that I see running Sue just don't really use her to like her full potential, because she is a lot harder of a healer support character, like I said, to master than most of the other supports, which are very easy. I think one of the biggest issues with her is that she doesn't heal as she heals others. You have to really think about your management of your abilities and stuff like that. Whereas with a lot of other healers, it's just as simple as, kind of like once you go to heal your teammates and stuff, she automatically, they automatically will heal themselves. Whereas with Sue, you just have to be a lot smarter. So, I mean, obviously, we know the basics, right? She heals when she goes invisible, and she has the ability to put up a shield in front of targets. And also, while I'm showing you guys these things, I'm gonna talk about them, but then I'm gonna actually show you a couple of clips from, gameplay to where I actually use them, because I know a lot of times people will give you tips and tricks and you kind of think, like, well, when am I going to actually use that in a real life situation? Not real life, but as far as an actual like gameplay situation. So first thing that I want to talk about is when to use her shield. So as you can see right here, it's kind of hard to do it in the practice range, but her shield that she has, we already know this shield actually heals you, and it will heal teammates as well. So once I've like I said, like when I've seen people playing with Sue, a lot of times people will just throw this out in front of people, and the shield only has 300 HP, right? So it's not really that much. It's about the average health of like a normal squishy character. Whereas like also too, one of the things I want to say is that once you throw this shield out, you can actually take the shield back, which, some people may know, some people may not know, but it is a good little thing that once you put it out. So what I've started doing, since Sue doesn't really heal herself unless she's invisible, and that's not really the best thing, because once you're invisible, if you do anything at all, you lose that, invisibility. And honestly, it takes a lot longer to heal once you're once you're doing the invisibility thing. Let's kind of see here for a second. So we lose some health, boom, then we come over here, we go invisible. You see, like you come, your healing comes back and your health comes back, but like it does it at a very slow rate, which I'm just not a fan of healing that way, because like I said, a lot of times in the heat of the battle, you have to heal up, pretty quickly, and going invisible, not being able to heal anyone or do any damage, it really isn't the best way to heal up. But as you can see, going in front of the shield though is a lot faster for healing, in my opinion, and you're still able to kind of use that shield and peek out and stuff while you're healing. So you see a lot faster, almost twice as fast, if not more, with the healing behind the shield. But like I said though, here I'm going to show you in a clip. A lot of times what I've started doing is I'll wait until someone is about to go around a corner, like while we're attacking, as you should be able to see in this clip, and I'll put the shield at kind of like an angle around, so like it's not taking most of the damage, right? And that shield a lot of times will actually just stay there until I recall the shield, allowing me to kind of peek out from around corners and still use that shield. But at the same time though, like I said, it's not going away. So I kind of just use that as a almost kind of like my own personal health pack, right? I keep coming back to it. Now you can throw it out to kind of like save people if that's what the situation calls for, or give them that last little bit of healing that the person might need. Like if let's say your whole team's alive, there's like one or two people that are on the enemy team, and you see maybe your tank or something, or one of your DPS is about to go down, but they're also about to take out the other opponent or whatever. Yeah, you can put that shield down. So that's just one of the things that I feel like a lot of people are not really utilizing very well, is they'll just kind of like throw the shield out in front of people while there's like this massive battle going on, and the shield literally just dissipates immediately. Like you can see in this clip right here. You throw the shield out and it's just gone like immediately, right? So it's not really the best usage of it, in my opinion, like I said, and it's really to kind of compensate for the fact that Sue does not heal as she's healing other, her other teammates and stuff like that, and there really is no option for you to heal outside of that besides going invisible, which, like I said, when you're invisible, you're just kind of like useless at that point, as far as, being, damaging enemies or healing your own teammates and stuff like that. So the next thing I want to talk about is sneak attacks. So the invisibility is really good for that. As you can see right here in this clip with this Moon Knight, he's sitting there just picking off people, and I just run up behind him, hit him with the pulse, and then try to jump away, hit him with a couple of attacks after that damage has ticked off, and then I force pull him back into me. And a lot of times that will finish them off, or it throws off their plans because they're trying to run away from you, and they just can't do that. So that that's another thing that it's really good for, is those sneak attacks, to be able to catch people off of guard, because Sue really is a versatile character. Like, she, in my opinion, next to like Mantis, just does insane amount of damage if you know how to use her combos and stuff, which I said, throwing out that pulse, letting it tick off some of the damage, hitting him, and then hitting him with that force blast. It's once you get that down, and you're able to do that more like consistently, it actually is ridiculous how many free picks I get off of people just doing that, especially with the fact that being invisible, they don't necessarily know what's going on. Now, the thing I have noticed too that I just want to like mention is that when you're invisible, people can still hear your footsteps, right? So there's lots of times where I'm being invisible, and people will be like looking around. They're like, you can just tell they're like, yo, is somebody right here? I can hear them. And it's the same thing. Whenever I come across Sue's, I always kind of like keep my guard up when I can hear footsteps right around me. But I don't know exactly like where that's coming from, but I'm like, yo, it's got to be really close. And we're like at an open area, so it's not like they're behind a wall or anything. So I know it's like probably another Sue lurking. So I just kind of keep that in the back of my mind. The other thing that I want to talk about is just as far as ability management, is that I know a lot of people like myself, when you play, you like to jump around, right? And the thing with Sue is that her invisibility is activated by her double jump, right? Unless like she just hasn't been doing anything like dealing out any damage or anything, or if she hasn't been taking any damage, which that takes a few seconds to do. I think it's like 5 or 6 seconds that it takes or whatever. So let's say that you're in the back line. A lot of Spider-Man's Iron Fist, stuff like that. They'll try to dive you when you're in the back line. So what I've been doing is it's just saving my invisibility, because obviously you can't attack what you can't see. There are some smart players that will start spamming attacks once they hear the footsteps, because they'll kind of know that you just disappeared because you did it right in front of them, and they'll try to track you like through the sound. And sometimes they get lucky and they're actually able to do that. But when you get dived, if you just save your invisibility ability, if you just save that ability until you're about to get dived at the last second, let's say they dive on you right now, you're doing your thing, you're healing your teammates, they dive on you, boom, just jump out of the way, move, and try to not make too much noise. Just kind of let them get like tired of looking for you, because they'll only usually take a few seconds to look for you. If they can't find you, then they'll turn their back, and then at that point, that's when you can hit them with the old rigamadoo real fast, while they're distracted. And there's a lot of times where I get those sneak attacks off, like the reversals, where they just got tired of looking for me because there was just so much going on. So the next thing that I want to talk about too is your force ability, right? So if we come over here really fast, you can see what I've been doing a lot lately is baiting people into open areas on the map where they can obviously like fall off a cliff or something like that, to get eliminated. And even if they have you like one shot, it's just a simple force push outward. can be enough. Now, obviously, that doesn't work on Storm because she's already, one, she can fly, and two, it's not a steep enough drop. But here I'm going to show you a clip of, people that I was able to push off. You can see this Wolverine right here. He was trying to, do Wolverine stuff, trying to think, makes, oh, I'm Wolverine. I'm about to, it's just a healer. I'm gonna get him. Bro got launched off of a cliff, right? We'll catch you later. Same thing right here in this clip. We were, close game. We were about to, lose this spot right here. I see their healer is close to the edge. Boom, just force push them off, right? So a lot of times that's really good. The other thing too is force pushes for when people are trying to run away from you. So like, let's say you get somebody weak, and obviously when people are weak, they know that they're one shot, two shots, or whatever. They're gonna try to jump away from you and go around corners and stuff. And a lot of times I will use that force push to like, so nope, get right back over here. Especially like Venoms and stuff like that. They'll try to like web sling away. No, Iron Man, they try to fly away. Nope, get right back on over here. So that's definitely something that you want to like start implementing, is really like learning, how to play positionally. So when you see these open areas that are like, like this one, like I said, is not the case, but it's just an example of, when you are around areas where there's an open spot to push someone off the map or whatever, just kind of keeping your back to it and not being in a reverse situation where, you have your back up against that. But yeah, like I said, that's something that you want to definitely start implementing in. The other thing too is like I said about like the invisibility situation, I've learned like if I don't want to get eliminated, it's really hard for people to eliminate me if I'm really like staying on my guard, right? And expecting the unexpected. You have to, know your enemy type of thing, right? Like think like your enemy. We all know that healers are probably the most important eliminations when you're, especially when you're playing ranked, people really know what they're doing. You really want to focus those healers. So as a healer, you kind of want to always be thinking like your enemy and thinking that, they're going to try to at some point dive you to get you out of there, especially if you're doing a good job healing. That's probably more than likely what they're saying to each other is, hey, take that healer out because, they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it's extremely hard to eliminate people when they're constantly being healed, correctly. So like I said, you really want to take advantage of your invisibility when you need to so that you don't get eliminated. But the last thing that I want to cover too is really fast is when to pop your ultimate ability. So your ultimate ability, like you can see in this clip here, we had a Cloak and Dagger that popped their ability, right? And I really try to save my ults until other people are about to ult because one, it's going to blind people that are outside of it, right? But if you jump outside of your ult, they're not gonna be able to see you. Plus the fact that you're taking an extreme amount of healing. So like this Cloak and Dagger, like they can't even really like do any damage with their ultimate because I've now popped mine. And anybody that's outside of it, it's forcing them to have to come into the fight, versus like stay out and they're just kind of blind firing. So her ult is really good for like reversals whenever people go to pop them. Now there are some ults that you're not gonna be able to eat it inside of there. But when you're making those last minute pushes on the point and you just need a second or to give your team a second and there's overtime or whatever, that's definitely when you want to pop those instead of just popping it just because you got it or whatever. I know a lot of people, they just kind of want to pop their ult like as soon as they get it, but you really want to think about where you are in the match and what's going to be happening soon, and thinking like have these people that have really good ults, have they popped them yet? And, if not, maybe I should save it until I hear that ult and then let me, go ahead and pop that or whatever. Same thing with like the Eye of Agamotto from, Doctor Strange. He goes to pop that, be ready to force push him outward away so that it gives him less of a chance to be able to pop that directly on you guys. It's really good for canceling a lot of people. Same thing with Iron Man. He goes to do that, he goes pop his ult, boom, just push him away from you and jump back, and go invisible, when they do that. So there's a lot of like little things like that. But for the rest of the video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys a match where it was a ranked match, and it was really funny. I had a guy in the match. He was a DPS. I think he was the Star-Lord, and he really wasn't. I don't know if this guy just didn't know how to play Star-Lord or if he just wasn't good or whatever. But he ended up getting mad because he felt like we weren't healing him enough, me and the other healer. And sometimes you have to make the decision as a healer. Whether you want to heal someone. If you're noticing that you're just healing someone over and over again and you're not really dealing any damage because you're worried about healing them, but they themselves are not winning any of their engagements, you got to kind of make the hard choice to say, hey, maybe I'm going to let this guy get eliminated, because I'm going to start dealing out more damage, because that's just a stronger, that's just a stronger suit for me than it is for him, right? You have to really make that damage. I mean, that assessment in the match. But if you realize that, obviously your teammates are on a streak, they're really dealing out good damage, then, you do want to go ahead and, obviously focus on the healing and stuff like that and just only pop in a little bit of damage where you can. But that's the benefit of someone like Sue Storm, is that, like I said, she can really make or break a match if you're using her abilities correctly, if you're constantly putting out her little pulse blast. What is it called? The sonic vortex. Yeah, you really want to just be throwing those every chance you get. That really makes or breaks a lot of situations. Knowing when to use those force pulls to either launch them outward to kind of get them off of a target that they're focused on, like one of your teammates, or push them inward to bring them back in, because like they're weak. And a lot of times that the damage that you do from the force push is going to be enough to take them out. If not, they're just going to get deleted by the teammates when you draw them back in. But nonetheless, like I said, this match was an extremely, it was one of those matches where we just knew we were going to lose. I mean, I try to say like optimistic, but I had a feeling we were going to lose, and it was so bad. Like the guy you'll see it like whenever we go to switch sides, the guy in the chat, our teammate, he was literally like, yo, we need to forfeit. We're going to lose this, guys. He even tried to like bring up the forfeit option, which I don't even know how to do that, but he brings it up, and I denied it. I think only him and one other person voted for it, so it got denied. But we ended up coming back and winning this match, even though it was a Hail Mary and it seemed impossible at the time. So it's just another thing too. You don't ever really want to like give up. You always want to just kind of like look at the situation and say what's going on. I looked at the stats. I saw this Star-Lord was not really pulling his weight, so I said, hey, let me focus on the people that are pulling their weight, and let me just go ahead and try to pick up the slack of this guy and really use all of my abilities to the best of my ability. So yeah, but I'm gonna leave you guys with this gameplay though. Let me know in the comments if you've been playing with Sue Storm, if you learned anything from this video, if you already knew everything, or if there's any personal tips and tricks that I didn't cover in this video that you know of. So, but yeah, and I appreciate you guys for watching. Dark, I'm out. Also, too, last thing I want to add real quick, I know I said I was done, but this video doesn't actually have audio. Now, I do have it saved in my history, and I could just go back through and re-record it through the history in the game file that I had saved, but I didn't really want to do that. I had turned the audio off because I was using my mic to record something while I was doing over that. I didn't want to have the background noise from that in the audio from it, so this doesn't have audio, but what I am going to do is leave you guys a little bit of music, some chill music in the background. And really, you don't need audio for it. It's really just a gameplay. Like I said, it's just a really clutch match that we weren't able to make it to the first point, but the other team wasn't able to make it to the first point either. And, the back and forth with the teammates who were, they were having their discourse and stuff like that in regards to us forfeiting. So, yeah, but like I said, you guys don't really need audio for that, but just enjoy the tunes and this gameplay footage, and I appreciate you guys for watching.